What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we've got some quick Destiny 2 updates and a bit of Bungie news. So initially we get some info about upcoming changes to exotics, and particularly some of those which are very strong in PvP right now, so we'll touch on that. Plus, Bungie talk about future sandbox updates, skill-based matchmaking, and they mention their unannounced project. And then we have a quick extra look at some upcoming rewards, some of which will come from the Master Vow raid. Plus, Bungie continue to work on other Destiny content formats. So there are a few things to round up in the video, guys, and if you enjoy this one, a rating below really helps us out. And now, let's get into it. First up today, let's discuss some recent updates from Bungie. And over the course of the weekend, DMG tweeted, "Heads up from the team, the Armor team has been monitoring PvP and is investigating tune-in changes for the renewal grasps. We expect to have more info later this season." And of course, the renewal grasps for hunters at the moment provide a whole bunch of damage protection, especially when working with some of the damage-focused stasis fragments. And so at the moment, there's a lot of discussion about it, but there we get that suggestion that they're looking to potentially nerf those inside of PvP, although it's possibly something that will happen towards the end of the season or next season. And then when players asked about the Loreley Splendor Helm, someone suggested this also needs a big nerf, and DMG said that the team is looking into that as well. And of course, that Titan exotic has already been nerfed since the launch of the season. However, the Sunspot activation element inside of PvP is something that a lot of players are also considering to be problematic. And so definitely adjustments are on the cards for those exotics down the road. And Kevin Yanis from Bungie added to this that the sandbox team may be quiet at the moment as their heads down, but they're still committed to the quality of PvP, and more changes are on the way. And it said previously that now that they're focusing a lot more on getting the other subclasses into the 3.0 world, they may be a bit slower on balance changes for the remainder of this season. And so bear that in mind and give us your thoughts on those exotics and potential changes that we might see. Also over the weekend, and related to trials, Liana Rupert from Bungie said that we're aware of an issue that allows for flawed passages of confidence to award adept weapons. And they also suggested that this will probably be fixed by the next time Trials comes around, but she added that this is the last week that Shaora's Wrath will be available. So let us know down below if you managed to farm a few of those out. Up next though, there was a bit of conversation about skill-based matchmaking, and when players discussed whether this was active inside of Destiny 2, DMG said we've turned off skill-based matchmaking in the majority of Crucible playlists. And this was thanks to feedback from mainly high-skill players, but he also adds that we have more negative sentiment around matchmaking than ever before, which comes not only from players in high-skill bands, but many in lower-skill bands who are frequently matched up against players way out of their punching weight, and new players are thrown into the fray with little to no experience with the game or systems. But he says that there is indeed valid feedback in team distributions. It never feels great to have lobbies balanced in such a way where your entire team has a negative KD while yours is high. That said, without skill-based matchmaking, the system cannot perfectly allocate skill across teams. So we're passing the feedback up and the team is looking at future opportunities for improvements, but he reiterates that they do not use skill-based matchmaking in the majority of Crucible playlists, and we check this every season when players ask if it was turned back on. And so Bungie adamant that the majority of playlists still don't feature skill-based matchmaking. It is certainly a topic of conversation that comes back up on a seasonal basis, so I'd be curious to hear about your experiences in PvP down in the comments section. But a final Bungie help mention here, and they say for any players on PlayStation who'd encountered missing content licenses, delayed silver purchases, or incorrect silver balances on their accounts, should now see that corrected as the issue was resolved. Just something to bear in mind in case you missed it. And then on to a mention about Bungie right here, but they tweeted that they're going digital first, and most of their current and future roles will be fully remote eligible in the states identified on the map right here. So Bungie are continuing to expand their capacity to work remotely. Perhaps there's some specific infrastructure that they've set up in those locations that allows them to do it more easily. But Chris Barrett also added that we have multiple key remote eligible positions open on Unannounced. Come and be part of forging new worlds with us, and of course, Chris Barrett was previously one of the directors for Destiny, but now is heading up a new title at Bungie. And currently this is one of the few times that Bungie devs have kind of recognized and spoken about an unannounced title directly. So I thought you guys might be interested in that. And if you think you potentially have the skills to work for Bungie, definitely be sure to check out their careers listings, which I'll link in the description box. Up next though, let's speak a little bit about some upcoming content remaining this season. One of the next major beats is going to be the Master Difficulty Vow of the Disciple, which is kicking off on the 19th of April. And players are curious about potential rewards and things there. We do know about some Triumph rewards, such as the Gouging Light Sparrow, and that one's for completing the raid on Master Difficulty. Then of course there are other triumphs, like completing all of the encounter challenges in Master. But it will be interesting to see what Bungie do with the weapons. Obviously, we have that crafting element with the normal raid weapons. So players are wondering whether the Adept ones are going to be craftable. And the one interesting thing about the Adept versions is that while they have the same main traits available in the roles, the Adepts do actually come with a different curated role versus the ones that come from the normal mode. So it's possible that curated roles will be one of the main features still for these Adept weapons. Although while it isn't confirmed, that doesn't mean that we can't get enhanced versions of traits. And the Adept versions will still allow us to equip Adept mods, so we're going to have to see exactly how it plays out. But even if they aren't craftable, there will still be a kind of unique element to those weapons that will only come from that master version. I will be sure though to keep you guys posted when we get more information about that master raid, and Bungie will possibly give us a few hints this week. Also this week though, they are going to speak about an upcoming raid rotation, and that's something that we'll see next season. And so at the moment we have Vow, which is the new raid, then we have Vault of Glass, and going back, Deep Stone Crypt, Garden of Salvation, and Last Wish. So somehow Bungie are looking to kind of plan a way to make those raids relevant on a rotating basis. So we'll have to see what they say there. Presumably, Pinnacle Power rewards will be present whenever we have a featured raid. But as for how they may update the rewards, whether they add any of the weapons into the crafting system, or completely change the roles, or whether it's a more basic system than that, we'll simply have to wait and see. But nonetheless, it certainly sounds exciting. And the last thing I want to mention here, but as we've discussed recently, Bungie are looking to work with new media formats for Destiny storytelling. There continue to be little bits of information and suggestions that some kind of animated project could be in development at Bungie. And so they published new job listings recently for Destiny linear media, and they're looking for someone to produce projects that extend the franchise into new categories, including TV, films, books, and comics. And it does have a required skill of experience with licensed products and animation, as well as scripted television and current programming. But also following Sony's acquisition of Bungie, the CFO had suggested that Bungie would be leveraging Sony's platforms and looking to expand its current and future IPs into film and TV. And that said that Bungie want to nurture the IP they have in a multi-dimensional manner. For that, we believe we can help, and we have Sony Pictures and Music, which will allow Bungie to leverage our platform so that their IP can flourish and grow big. And so there's definitely something brewing up, and the kind of evidence that we're going to get something like this is mounting over time as Bungie continue to work on those future projects, much in the same way that we're getting little hints about their potential future IPs through those development posts as well. So just thought that was worth a mention, and I'll link an article from the game post down below if you want to read that. But for today, guys, that's what we have to speak about in this video. So if you've enjoyed it, a rating down below really does help us out on the channel. Plus, if you're new around here, you can get subscribed and turn on notifications to be kept up to date with everything related to the game. But otherwise, for now, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I hope you have an awesome day.